Alright, welcome back my Florida Garden Escape channel. Happy to have you guys here. So it is a wonderful, beautiful Tuesday morning we have here. It's a little chilly, not too bad. We did get some rain. Not a whole lot, not like I thought it would be. Temperatures do plan on dropping tonight, but we aren't going over any winter preparations today. Today we are going to go through and do the weed barrier in the front part of our flower bed. So that is what we are going to be doing today. I got my long johns on, as you guys can see, not in the best shoe interior, but you know, I just threw some on, slipped some on my feet. Better to have shoes than not to have shoes, I say. We're currently taking the animals out to potty, so we are doing that. We're gonna go in, get the piggy fed for his pellets and that, and then we're gonna get started on the weed barrier. We got that to do today. I'd like to get that accomplished along with doing some transplanting I'm hoping to do. If you guys haven't, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe down below, and don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. And then also at any point in time, guys, if you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. We love to hear from you guys. And we're gonna get right into it today. I'm gonna finish taking them potty, and then we are gonna get started, get everything together that we'll need for today's adventure. So let's go. All right, so we're back. We've done had lunch. I've done got the animals situated. Wilbur is out here with me, so he's got to be a tag along today. I'm gonna quickly show you guys what the front garden beds look like. I'm wondering if I'll have enough to not only do the front garden beds, but also do these side beds that I have as well. So we're gonna kind of see how it goes. I grabbed one pack of the stakes. I don't know if I'll need both packs just yet. We're gonna find that out as we move along. These stakes were like $5 at my local hardware store, which is Tractor Supply. So we are going to go through. That sun is like really beaming in my eyes, like you guys have no kidding. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the remaining barrier. I went ahead and laid one piece down. I wanted to see how it would look, how I would need to lay it out. So I got it already laid out, and I already used some of the stakes that we already had for it. It is a little chilly. It's very windy out today. But the sun is beaming, and it feels good when you're in the sun. But once that shade starts kicking in, it's like, oh my God, it's cold. So there is that. But we're gonna go ahead and show you guys what it currently looks like without it, and then with just the one piece on, and then we're gonna go through and add the rest. So let's go. All right, so first we're gonna show you the flower bed on the right side of the house, as it doesn't have no weed barrier. And I'm going to quickly go ahead and show you guys it. So this is the right side flower bed that does not have no weed barrier, and we did have a rose bloom recently. Look at her, she's so pretty, and these smell so good. I love the way my roses smell. But this is going to be the right side. Now off to the left side, don't mind our Christmas decorations, this is the weed barrier I got. I went ahead and laid it here. As you guys can see, it does look different. This is going to really help keep these weeds out of here and make it a lot easier for me to maintain it. I'm going to do a smaller strip around these bushes, so that way the weeds aren't building up around these bushes anymore. And we're going to get the back side in between these plants and that. The roses are still blooming. They're doing pretty good for the most part. I think once we get this weed barrier down, this will help them do a lot better. And there is my pig. He is rooting in the ground for things. Little fat thing. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys back up here. My kids will more likely be getting off of school soon. So I'm going to try and get as much done as I can while they're still in school. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the big parts where I don't have to work around the plants, go ahead and get that tackled out of the way, because that's going to be the easy part. I'm going to go ahead and get the easy portion done, so that way when it comes to the hard part will be not so complicated. As long as I can get the big portion areas covered, I think we should be good. But let's go. Alright, so as you guys can see, we got some stuff we got to move out of the way. You don't want anything in the way to lay the weed barrier down. It'll make it a lot harder to lay down, and you don't want trash going into the ground, because trash really doesn't do nothing for your soil or anything. So we're gonna move all this stuff. I'm not gonna get too close to the house, not too worried about things close to the house. It's more gonna be close to the bed itself. So we just gotta move everything. That's gonna be making soil and that. So I'm gonna grab the roll. We're gonna roll it out here. And Wilbur's rooting in here. So what I'm gonna do here, first is we're gonna roll it out, get it to where I'm gonna meet it all the way to these bushes right here. Little piggy. Come on, move. Wilbur. This is where the little piggy gets in the way. Wilbur. No, I didn't hurt him. It more along the line scared him than hurt him of me picking him up like that. I scared him more than anything. Alright. So, we got it all laid out. What I'm going to go ahead and do, as Wilbur is walking his runway, I'm going to go ahead and put stakes down at the bottom so we can hold it in place there. So let me grab some stakes. Alright, so we're going to need scissors. I'm going to need to cut a little bit here. And what I'm actually going to do is, let me turn y'all so that way y'all can see better. Alright, so as you guys can see, it's already here. More than likely when I go to cut, it's not going to be too exact. So I'm going to pull it tight like this. And then I'm going to cut around the porch edge. So I'm gonna just use this as my line here, and you guys don't judge me if my line's not straight. I never claimed to be a perfect cutter, and to be honest guys, I'm not really concerned if it goes under the porch any, because it'll just go underneath it. It'll be okay if it goes underneath. I'm doing a little extra just in case we need that little bit of extraness there. Y'all know. Thankfully the weed barrier is easy to cut, so I'm able to cut it with no problem. This weed barrier is a 3 foot by 100 foot long. It was about, I'm gonna say this weed barrier was like close to 40 bucks for the whole roll. And we did get it off Amazon. I'll leave a description for it in the description down below, so that way y'all could go check it out if that's something y'all are wanting to get for your garden. So we got this cut. So now we're gonna go ahead and move further down this way, and we're gonna push this weed barrier close up to the plants, so that way it's protecting the backside. But before I do that, I want to grab the stakes and show you. So these are landscape pins. It comes 25 in a pack. It was only $5 at the hardware store. Thankfully, I don't think this side will take the whole 25, as I am doing about 5 feet apart, if not a little further, just to make sure it is holding the weed barrier down. We'll push these all the way into the ground. These will go in the ground first, obviously, as that's the pointy ends. We'll just stick it down in the ground, push it all the way down, and then it'll hold the the green weed barrier there. Now, let's say you don't want to have to go through to buy the landscaping pins. You can always go through with putting a weed barrier down and then laying on something on top of it, depending on that location. So you could lay rocks, you could put mulch, anything along those lines, and that would be pretty much the same thing as the landscaping pins, except the difference is you have the rocks holding it down instead of the pins holding it down. Now, when it comes to what you put on top of it, especially if it's like close to the house like ours is, you don't want to use mulch, as it will create black splatters onto the house and make the home look really dirty. Then you're looking at costing extra because you got to have somebody come out and clean the house. So we won't be putting mulch. It's part of the reason why we have the landscaping pins. I'm going to go ahead and put these in and then kind of decide later on what I'm going to use to put over it to make this area look a lot nicer. But now we're going to go ahead and scoot this top portion closer to the bottom base of the plants, and then we're going to pin them down, and then we're going to go from there. So let's go. Gotta take him in. Hold on, y'all. So, normally Wilbur's out here with me majority of the time. I am like mama to him, so he feels he has to be everywhere I go, which isn't totally a bad thing, until it's time for me to get things done. and then it kind of becomes a bad thing. But it's like a child, pretty much. All right, so we've gotten everything staked in a good distance apart. Now what we're gonna do, since I have all this side staked down, we're gonna go through and stake this part of the weed barrier. We're gonna make sure it does get all evenly. As you can see, it's kind of ruffled up in that. So we're gonna go through and stake this part, and then we're gonna need to see if we need to take measurements on that. So let's go ahead. As you guys can see, I'm tightening it and then staking it. I want to maximize the area of the tarp. Now, with our home being a solid brick home and that, it does make it a little harder, because right here is some cement. As you guys can see right here, if I would move out of the way, right here where I'm standing is cement, this right here. So it will make it a little bit harder for that area. Wilbur's inside having a freaking panic attack right now. Alright. So we just gotta, I thankfully did enough to where you can definitely see where it runs under the porch, and I'll show you guys here in a second. Okay, there we go. First set done. So now we got the front part and the back part. Now the only thing really is left is to do in between the plants, and then kind of get the outskirts. But I won't worry about this back part, as I'm not planting anything further back here, as this will be closer to the wall. So we won't plant anything back here. Now it's just in between the plants, and then in between these rose bushes right here. I think what I'll end up doing is, I think we're gonna just do the big patches today, because I don't have a tape measure, and I'm gonna need to measure the width in between each one of these plants, so that way I can make sure I'm cutting the right amount for them. So I'll need a tape measure to do that portion. So we'll probably end up doing that portion later. At least we're getting the big portions of it taken care of. My pig's literally having a fit inside, so we may not be able to get all this done today. Alright, so I am looking at this other portion of this garden, the front one that I had just showed you at the beginning of the video. We're gonna need to get, before I can even mess with that side, I have to get a tape measure. There is like no way I'll be able to just roll it and it'll be okay unless I just do the back side. Yeah, I'm not even gonna fight with it. We'll be back. We gotta go fetch a tape measure from my parents' house. So we'll be back. Yeah, definitely. We'll be back. So we're back. We got the tape measure. I did end up doing extra. And now I did end up using the remaining stakes that we did have for what we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip you guys around, show you guys what we have currently already gotten done, and then what's left, and then I'm gonna go through with you the steps that we're gonna kind of take to get the rest of this done. So let's go ahead and go. So in case y'all didn't remember before what it looked like when we originally started, this is what it looked like before, and then this is also with the gaps that you've seen in between. So I'll go ahead and show you the before, and then we'll come back and look at the now. Alright, so you guys can see we did fill in between the barriers. We just need to get that stuff cleared out in between there now. We did get each one taken care of, so that way there isn't that gap in between. We just got to get the ones that are in between. The only spot that's really left in this flower bed area is going to be between these two bushes, the remaining of this, as I didn't cut it long enough, and I also ran out of stakes. But then also getting around here as well. And actually, while I do have you guys, there is a alligator in here that kind of got buried, as you guys can see through everything. So we're gonna pull him out and set him over here, so that way he's no longer buried. But I would like to get some more put over here and then in between these bushes as well. So it's a little bit more work. In between here will be the rocks. As you guys can see, the rocks do lead into these bushes. Come on, Wilbur. We got to get him out of there because he's rooting for any of the roots in that, and I don't want him rooting in there. Come on. Come on. Come on. Don't mind the Christmas decorations. So the only part of this one here is with this one, with us doing the weed barrier on this one, what'll end up having to take place is we're gonna just roll the thing out all the way down this side, get that big pile of stuff moved out of there, but roll it all out, get the weed barrier put there. I'm not, in a sense, I'm not worried about this area because we're not going to be planting this close to the house. So I necessarily don't want to put any weed barrier here, just due to because I'm not really worried about the weeds. But I will put it like along this side here and put it in between these plants. So I just need to measure what's between here, this gap here, and then in between each one going individually. And then I'll do one all the way across, and I should be able to get it all the way across through this bend here. Now, if we have enough, what I'm aiming to hopefully do is cover this area as well with weed barrier, so that way the weeds stay out of this area as well, and it helps keep that weeds down. Now, the only thing with this area is I don't have to worry about the stakes because the mulch will go on top of the weed barrier, so it'll help keep that weed barrier down, and the mulch will help keep it staked down just like the stakes would. So that's the bonus with this side. Now, if I have enough, which I'm hoping I do, if I have enough weed barrier, what I'm hoping to do is also get this side over here done as well. With this side flower bed, pretty much I'm aiming to get these flower beds with weed barrier, just so that way I have less areas that I'll need to tend to for the weeds, and it'll be a lot more easy on me as far as maintenance goes with these beds. Now, when it comes to composting it and fertilizing these plants, we'll turn it all into a liquid fertilizer anyways and distribute it out to the plants that way. But they're overall doing pretty well. Everything's kind of going into winter harvest. We are pretty warm today, which is nice. But we got to enjoy it while we have it because it'll get cold fast on us. We're Florida. But that is the goal with the weed barrier. Now, we'll have to come back later and finish doing the rest of the staking, but that's pretty much of the weed barrier that we are able to get done currently, since we're not staking that area. And I don't want to start on the other areas just yet because my main focus is just those 2 flower beds by our front porch. I mainly want to get those done. But while I have you guys, I did want to take you guys around and show you some things that are staying active and dormant in our garden. So even though it is winter, there is always still things that you can plant that'll do very well in the winter time. For example, I have plenty to show you. It's going to be your lettuce. Your lettuce will do tremendously well in the wintertime. They can handle the cold temperatures. they're actually best to grow in the wintertime. If you're growing them during the summertime, you may have a trickery because you're going to want to keep them in shade because they do not like that heat. The heat will kill them off. Another plus thing is the Sweet Williams. They are growing tremendously. These I'm going to keep potted. I want to see how they'll grow potted. I'm going to put pretty much like a cage over the pot and see how they grow. But as you guys can see, they are getting long, so they're doing very well. You also can plant kale during this time. Now, I've been experimenting with the snapdragons. These I've been growing since late summer. They didn't really start poofing up and getting big like this until we started getting in the cold temperatures, so they can handle the cold weather, which is nice. We did get our asparagus in. It is still growing tremendously. We just got to pluck out the weeds in there. As you guys can see, they're probably ready for some compost tea. Here is our cilantro. It is growing parsley. It's growing tremendously. Over here is going to be the thyme. This is all going to be thyme, and it is growing very well. I have to say I'm actually quite pleased with this, as it is growing very well, as you guys can see. Don't mind the weeds. We're not paying attention to that. But these guys here are growing very well. I'm actually very happy with those. Now, we also do have over here sage. We do have it growing as well. One of our luscious herbs. So it's doing well. Now, these are mainly just some herbs and some veggies. We also have our rosemary out here as well, which is doing really good. I don't... Wilbur, our pig, he goes everywhere with me when we're outside. As you guys can see, he enjoys being outside. Of course, potty training ain't going so well being outside, but it's all work in progress. But everything's been growing really well. Can't really say we've had anything die off. The cilantro is doing good. I do need to harvest from it, but it's growing really well. We do need to put in our celery Utah, which I've already found the placing for it. I just now have to get it put in. I've been saying for a while now I'm going to transplant it, and I just haven't done it yet. Everything has been crazy busy. So still adjusting. Now in the greenhouse, it is a lot warmer out in here than it is out here, especially since it's closed up. Currently it is getting up to 85 degrees, which is nice for these plants in here. We do have a tomato growing along with some pepper plants. We do have some more herbs growing, like our basil. We have our aloe in here, and then this is another hot pepper plant right here. We do have our lemon hot pepper plant here that's been growing in here since summertime, along with 2 additional bell pepper plants and a hot pepper plant. And then we do have some lavender growing in these pots with a little bit of mint. So everything's staying nice and warm, which is nice. We're gonna have plenty to harvest from before we know it. It does take some time for the herbs to grow before you're able to harvest from them. But it is nice to know that we do got it going, and then it's nice to know that we will have some few tomatoes to have here and there from our garden, technically from in our greenhouse that's growing, because we got a tomato plant in there. I'm waiting for Mr. Take his sweet time to move out of the way so we can close up the greenhouse. Now, I won't leave our greenhouse open. I do let it accumulate that heat, so that way it does take a little bit of time for it to cool back down at night. Because at night we are still getting down to 56, so it's not tremendously cold. So the greenhouse will be able to stay warm during that time. Boom! he runs everywhere, y'all. But that is going to be it, guys, for what we got going currently. No really big updates. We just got to get this weed barrier tackled. It's going to be a step at a time because we're getting things as it's going. So bear with us, you know. Oh, and then a Wilbur between my feet here. All right, guys, but you guys have a great, wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining. Deuces.